Well, hello. It's Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 252. Yeah, hit the mic. That's good, Art. Episode 252, October 31st, 2024. And I am Grey Gamer 25. And over here, or over there, depending on how you look at it, is...
Mike. No, I'm not Mike.
No,
I'm
not
Trev.
Mike.
Don't hit me, please. I'm Trev. How you doing? Hi, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless your name changed all of a sudden and you didn't tell me. I mean, it's always possible. Anywho, let me click on two things here that will make things simpler for all of us. There we go. Things you do when you do things live, people, I'll tell you. But anyway, glad you're all joining us once again. Thanks for being here as usual. And also, happy Halloween for, I guess, a good chunk of the world. I don't know if everybody does Halloween, but you guys do Halloween, no?
Of course we do, yeah. Of course we do, man. Everyone does Halloween, surely.
So what are you dressing up as?
Myself, it's scary enough as, like, I tend to, I say, look at me, man, like, you know, I am Mirror Spock, so I just need pointy ears. You know?
What I end up doing is these days is I'll put the bowl of candy out there and I make up a sign, you know, a big one, and put a pumpkin on the sign, and then I just put something like if you take a few, you know, make sure you leave a few, and then I just put this big bowl of candy out there, and that's it.
So wait a minute, they're allowed to take some sweets, but they're not. They've got to then return. I'm going on the honor system, is what it is. It worked fine last year, so I'm going to do it again this year. Oh, so only take a few at a time then, and leave some.
Yeah, I have a sign that basically says take a few, you know, and leave a few. And just to get the idea with the pumpkin, and so they can read it and they see it, and I keep the porch light on, and then I just keep the bowl of candy there. And then when the candy runs out, I put another sign out there and says, "We're out. Sorry." Unless it doesn't run out. It's really weird. Every Halloween, I either get a bunch of kids or I don't get any, or not any, but I should say very few. So I'll buy candy and I'll have either too much left over or not enough to finish the night. It's never anywhere in between. It's really crazy. But
That's
anyway,
Gray. We forgot to change the title.
Yeah, no, because you were going to show me.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, you can show me later. It's not a bad title the way it is. It just needs to be different.
I know.
But in any case, join our Discord. If you're not on our Discord, why not? It's discord.gg/extreme gaming podcast. Of course, it's all one word. discord.gg/extreme gaming podcast. Or if you forget that, just search Extreme Gaming Podcasts on your Googles and it will undoubtedly come up one place or another. We are on most of the good podcasting services out there, like Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and I don't know, there's a couple other ones. So you can catch us. We're all over the socials: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, X. What else am I forgetting? There's probably Threads, I think.
All
right?
The ones in that list. And Threads? No, we're on it, but we're not really doing anything with it yet.
We'll have to start doing more with Threads. But yeah,
I think Instagram's there, but not on that list.
Yeah, I didn't know whether they were doing Instagram or not, so I didn't want to. But hey, check that out too.
Don't forget Bebo. Don't forget MySpace. Don't forget Napster. All the old stuff that we use.
Remember Napster? Oh my god, that goes back. Everybody was into that. Like, I can get music. We can all share it. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
How long did that last before they got sued and had to shut down? I was trying to think how long.
It was a little while. Yeah, I missed that. I really do. I missed that.
Yeah, but then now we got Spotify and we have Pandora, if that's still going, and a couple other ones. So, and it's really, the free service is not really expensive, so you can get a lot of music. I like it. I'm able to actually find music I never really heard before, which is nice. I'm always looking for something different. Not just always the mainstream junk. So,
well, I've got the YouTube Premium because again, it's so cheap. Yeah. Like that's got just as much music on it as Spotify or Apple Music. In fact, it's got more.
True.
And it's now the number one player choice for podcasts now. It overtook that. So it's my number one video and audio platform. And we're not specifically plugging YouTube. It's just, well, maybe we are. We put our stuff out quite a lot of platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main ones is YouTube. And
that's
we
probably
want
the
to try
main
and
one.
build. Yeah, yeah, no, Twitch is still up there. It's one of our main ones as well. But we do a lot of stuff on. We want to push the YouTube up a little bit more as well, because I do YouTube stuff for my Trekway stuff. So,
Yeah.
which Gray's not plugged yet, so I'll do it. And if you like Star Trek, don't forget to come along to the Trekway, because we do lots of Star Trek stuff on that as well.
You didn't put it in the notes.
Yeah, I did put it in the notes. Yeah, that's true.
Or I should put it in the notes. I'm just blaming you.
I may have removed it. I can't remember, to be honest.
Yes, the Trekway. And we've just done the first 3 episodes of Lower Decks. So you might want to check that out, where we talk about it, rate it, see what we like, what we don't like, amongst other things. So I think you'll have some fun with that. We have a few things, obviously, to talk about, as we always do with our podcast. But first, doing okay there, Trav? Everything great? Oh, aren't you moving soon? Or right? You're moving in to a new place. Yay.
Tomorrow.
I'll have to get you a housewarming gift, like maybe a stuffed animal or something.
A stuffed animal?
Well, everybody gets plants, and then the plants die. See, there you go, just like that one. By the way, if you do want to see what our ugly mugs look like, plus some of the things that we put up on the screen that we refer to sometimes, you can watch the YouTube video within about 24 to 48 hours tops. I'll have it all edited and on YouTube. So that's always fun to see some of the little visual things maybe you missed, but not to worry about the audio people out there. We do say what's going on the screen if we do that. And we talk, of course, a lot to you.
Although there's one thing, though, that we decided before, did we not? So going forwards from probably this week onwards, you can tell me different, Gray. While we're live on YouTube and a few other sources at the same time, Twitch and whatnot, once we're finished going live on YouTube and we've done what we need to do with the recording, we actually delete that and remove that. The reason being is we have the audio podcast that goes up on YouTube anyway. Like, the audio stuff is our bread and butter. But also on top of that, there's the version that Gray was mentioning. He literally takes the feed from Riverside, the shiny version, and he literally goes and edits the video, makes it all shiny, and that's the one he'll put up on YouTube, so you can actually do a visual podcast, and it's the one he'll put up on Spotify as well. So you won't be able to watch it back, the live version, on YouTube. However, and I never thought of this until just now, Gray, we'll probably keep the live version on Twitch. Reason being, if you subscribe to us on Twitch, you're able to watch the VODs later. Right. So you could go back and watch that if you wanted to, if you're subscribed to us on Twitch. And if you're not, that's okay. But you do get a free sub with your Prime Gaming Amazon thing that you get every month.
So let's start out with some gaming news, like we always do. We'll be doing gaming, some hardware stuff, mods today and whatnot. First thing up is Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which actually, came out about 4 hours ago. At the time we were recording this, and there already has been some reviews, and of course some people got some copies of it before, etc. So there's definitely stuff out there to be seen. I haven't played it yet. I've played I played Dragon Age. All the Dragon Age games through the years, but it's been about 10 years since the last one that's been played.
Tell me about it, Gray. Tell me about the franchise briefly in general. I know nothing about it.
I was trying to roll in the footage. So I played every game that's come out ever since, and it goes all the way back, I don't even know now, close to 20 years, I think. But it's been 10 years since the last one came out, which is, I don't know why it took so long to be able to do another Dragon Age game. That's a long time. And I've been afraid these days of AAA games not performing the way we would like. And so I was getting a little nervous that this wasn't going to match up to what came before. But apparently, from what I'm hearing, is that it's pretty good. Some people are even saying that they think it's worthy of being nominated for Game of the Year. I don't know. We'll see. I think the Metacritic score is around 85, or 84, which is about where the other Dragon Age game is placed as well. So that's a good sign. You start getting any below that, then you kind of wonder, but that's a good score. And if some people think it's good enough to get into the Game of the Year, then I'm feeling more confident that it's going to be, it's going to be good. So I haven't picked it up yet. I will be, and hopefully I'll be playing it and talking about it next week. But basically, the story is that the aftermath of the Elven god Solas, whatever, Solas. He was in the last game, I think, if I remember correctly. He attempts to tear down the veil. But if he does that, it'll destroy the world, of course, and you have to stop him and try to not let that happen, etc. He basically says, "Don't worry about it. You can trust me." And of course, you can't trust him. So he goes off. Never trust him. So he goes off and does what he's going to do. Unfortunately, he ends up unleashing even worse on the world. I won't say too much more than that. And you're going to have to go back and make sure you and your buddies, because there's always companions in the game, are going to go back and try to figure out how to put the whole world back in order again. I don't know much beyond the companions. Last time there was some really good companions in the past games. There was some romantic parts in the game. I don't know if that's still in here now. I would think it would be, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So I don't know if you can do any romances in the game as of yet. I'm assuming you can. And if some of the companions are as good as they've been, that should be a lot of fun. So I'm really expecting a lot. If it's as good as what I'm reading, then I'm expecting to have a very good time with the game. So for anybody out there, it is out now. Check it out. Maybe when I play it and come back next week to talk a little bit about it, you all have played it, and maybe you'll like it. Have you played any of the Dragon Ages?
No, nothing about it. That's why I wanted you to describe it a little bit. So thank you for doing that. It's not they're not my kind of cup of tea. That's not my kind of shtick, really. So
yeah, if you like God of War, though, it's an RPG when it comes down to it.
I don't know if I'd consider God of War an RPG, a full RPG. It's kind of like RPG MMO type game, I guess. A little bit. Like, I call it a story-driven game. A story game,
I think that's RPG in the strictest sense is probably God of War, because that's like a true RPG, which should play like a movie, which is kind of what it does. But I'll tell you, Dragon Age is very similar. The only real difference is that you're having companions. But if I remember correctly, on the old games, that if you didn't want companions, you actually could get rid of them all, and just go about it yourself. But there was always something interesting with the companions, because there was something different about each one, and you started to get to know them. Like, for instance, when they had Mass Effect games, especially Mass Effect 2 and 3, you ended up really caring about your companions, and you felt bad if any of them got hurt or whatever. I tried everything I could for nobody to die in Mass Effect, but one did. And as much as I tried not to let that happen, one did, and I felt like terrible. He was like, "Oh no!" And they had cinematics and things all set up for each of the ones that you had. If they died, it would trigger the next thing that would happen, and what your characters all felt or whatever. So this particular character died, and then everybody was like feeling sorry and hanging out, and it was kind of neat. So you really did care about everybody's feelings and stuff, and when you really got into the game. So when you get that involved, like we did with God of War, then you got a good game. But
just really quickly, Gray, I've been looking for an opportunity to jump in there just to address Sacco Boy's comment. Matthew is in the closet. Yeah, so we got him to work to do all the work, the preparation stuff for us. Got him to put his GIMP mask on, and we put him in the closet. So just picture the scene from Pulp Fiction, and that's Matt right now. No, he's got personal stuff on tonight. I never asked him what he was doing. None of my business. He just couldn't make it tonight, so that's okay. There is the odd week that I can't make it, or Gray or Matthew can't make it. Matthew just sounds weird calling him that.
I know it sounds
but it's his Sunday name is in trouble. Matthew. So no, he'll probably be back next week. Zach, oh boy, you're all good, my man. Anyway.
So in any case,
I might give Dragon's Age a chance at some point if that's the case. It's just I don't know if it's similar to God of War. Then I'm just hoping to remaster the God of War 1 to 3 games, because I'd be tempted then. I think they technically remastered God of War 3. In fact, they have. So I don't know. There was rumours that would do a remaster, and I'd be interested. I'm not really interested in Greek mythology.
Okay.
It's just dull in comparison to Norse mythology. But I've said this to you before, I'm not a religious guy. Respect everyone else's choice in religion, you know. But if I was going to be religious, it would be Norse mythology. It's way more interesting than Christianity and Jesus and God and stuff. I mean, that's all way too serious for me. Norse mythology, like, you actually want to be killed and go to Valhalla and get pissed and drunk and go to the table with the Allfather and Freya and Thor, and just it's well good fun, don't you think? That's a religion. It reminds me a little bit of Klingon. The Klingon culture, if you think it's Tovakor instead, you know.
Tovakor,
yeah, so
it would be kind of cool. I mean, you could just knowing you're going to go somewhere and you could do whatever.
Now, they genuinely believed in it. They genuinely believed in it, so they didn't mind dying.
The only thing that I was wondering about, though, if you go to if they believe they go to Valhalla, which they did, what happens if you're in Valhalla and you get into a fight and someone wants to like stab you? I mean, do you die? Do you die again? Do you die again?
Well, if you remember, Gray, from the Marvel movies, when the guy, what's his name? Idris Elba plays the keeper of the Bifrost. I can't remember his name, the character's name. But he you know, the Bifrost at the end that transports him across the galaxy.
Sure.
He's the one that puts the sword in. I can't remember his name. He gets killed at one point and he goes to Valhalla, and it just looks like a version of Asgard. And that's where Jane and stuff goes, if you remember. So it looks idyllic, and you know, it's they explain it though. Marvel do a good way of explaining it with science and stuff, don't they? Like, there's different. Your afterlife is like your like a different dimension. I think, what was that? Marvel's Moon Knight done that as well. Good way to explain it, you know. So this is one of our famous tangents here. We've got off on a tangent.
It could be something like, if you die again in Valhalla, then you really are gone.
True, that could happen as well.
I mean, at least then they give you a second chance, but you don't get any more than a second chance. So it's kind of like, all right, that's it, man. You know, you die here, that's it. But then
game over, man.
But then that would take away something from the Vikings, because they're so used to fighting. They're going to go like, oh man, now we can't fight because if I kill you, you'll be gone forever.
So I think they just settle the differences, Gray. I think they just all just get pissed. They all just get pissed and be merry and drink wine and mead and eat and just have a great time around the big table and the Great Hall in Valhalla.
At least you'd always have the best food and the best mead and that you can get.
Oh yeah, and right? getting pissed with Thor and Odin's son. Oh, come on, man! You'd be like, here, Thor passes over the hammer. Would you give us a shot at the hammer, mate?
Can I hold on to that? You grab it and you hit the ground. Oh, nuts!
And it'll be like the Avengers movies where Tony Stark's trying to pick it up. He's like, remember him and Captain America, and the guy that Falcon. Yeah, they're all like literally using their suits and everything to try and no, we got it. They're all trying to lift up this hammer. And what's Thor doing? Sitting at the side with some wine, getting pissed, just laughing at them.
Yeah,
that was good fun. Man. I miss it. Don't make Marvel movies like that anymore, mate.
Heck, they don't. The comics used to do that all the time, and they don't even adhere to the comics sometimes anymore.
I know.
They're going in their phase 6, so we'll see if that's going to do anything. But anyway,
so what happens if we don't have GGR? We're starved.
Well, you know, we're tangenting, we're tangenting, something like that. I wanted to bring up something I thought was kind of neat on the next story. No Man's Sky, a dev fixed a fan's 611-hour save. I'm like, wow. So hey, how you doing? So apparently this gentleman or this person had played for 611 hours, and then there apparently was some kind of a glitch in the game or a bug in the game, which was known. But the problem is that when he played the game, from that point on, every time he went into his back into the game, the save file would take the bug and then reproduce it and persist it through the entire all his saves, no matter what. So in other words, where he didn't have problems running around in different areas and stuff like that, and the bug would not be there, now the bug was always there. And apparently it was something to have to do with I think it was a stuttering or flashing issue or something, from what I'm looking at here. And it was just drove him nuts. And so somehow the word got out, I think through social media or whatever, and the devs at No Man's Sky decided to help and try to take action. And they got a hold of the guy apparently, and then went to work on the file, which I thought was really nice because you don't really see things like that, happen. They just, they're off doing their own thing or whatever.
They went above and beyond the Call of Duty, so to speak, and
exactly.
beyond what they would normally do. Yeah,
It was definitely a flickering bug from I just looked at here. But in any case, so what they said was in their opinion, they felt that if a fan writes in and has that many hours devoted to something, it's the least that they could do to try to fix it and see if they can get it back. I don't know how long it actually took, but they did take the file. They did figure it out. Got rid of the bug. Now the bug supposedly still exists, so they're working on it, and they promised the person and everybody out there who's playing the game that they will get rid of the bug for good. But apparently it's not going to come back anymore and will not propagate through his save file so that it's everywhere he goes. Because supposedly the bug was only in one area or one part of the game, and that's it. But because he encountered it, it then just dragged into his save file, and now every time he goes in to play the game, it happens no matter what. So it was nice of them. They got back, and one of the fans found out about it and did a little message back to the devs, and they said mad respect for the dedication. So
I
thought that was nice. And a lot of times we sit there and knock devs for things, but I thought this was a really nice thing to do, to actually fix it and take care of it.
I thought that's above and beyond. I like to hear that. I like to think they've done that because they're decent human beings and because they realise that they wouldn't do that for just anyone. I think if someone else came to them in a few months' time with a similar kind of issue, they would try and resolve that as well because they've put so much hours into the game. They're one of the diehards in that game, so it's only fair that they try and help out this person as much as possible. And he's got a lot more patience in that game than I do. I mean, just think that's some amount of hours. I was thinking about this the other day. The most hours I put into games, and obviously the one that will always lead for me is Rust at 3,500 hours. But the second option is the second choice most played game is Destiny 2 at about 500 hours. So, I mean, that's some amount of hours, really. I mean, that was ridiculous when I got that in Rust. But respect to the devs.
There's only 2 games where I put in, maybe 3, where I put in that many hours. I put in, I know, close to 1,000 on Division 2, right? Like 800 and something, I think, or 9. I know I put in, I think it was 1,400 hours in trying to remember. Can't remember the game off the top of my head. Then there was another one, Assassin's Creed. Those kind of games, I'll always put 150 hours, anywhere from 70 to 150, 175. But to go over that, it has to be something that's can be replayed, or is such a long game or such a long game that it just keeps on going. For instance, if you are part of an MMO, and that's all you really do is play MMOs, you could rack up that much time easily.
I think that's how I got to that stage with Ross Gray. Literally, I remember I was playing it I would play it on. I've not been unemployed often in my life, my adult life, but there was one period, the longest I've ever been employed for was like 6 months. So I would literally, the day would turn into night because you don't realise. And I remember I'd be playing with Taz John of the community. We don't see much, but he's still around from time to time. He's in the States as well. So literally, I would be up doing like 12-hour sessions and stuff. and waiting until everyone else is sleeping. It's the shitty thing to do in Rust, like raid everyone when they're sleeping. But because I was literally up and playing then, like it was difficult. And there's ways around that now, of course, but like countermeasures and whatnot. But we play for hours and hours and hours, and I would literally rack up these hours so much that I played it for so long. I'll get back to it at one point. I'll get you and Matt into it as well. Matt's got it anyway. We'll get into it at some point, but we've probably got Black Ops 6 Zombies to play, I would imagine, when I get my PC up and running. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, speaking of that, because we played it, we got to play the early one about a month ago when they allowed us to. And that was pretty fun. But I'm anxious to see what the zombie thing might be, only because it's going to be fun to play like with you and Matt. We all play together versus the zombies instead of PvP.
Yes.
Because PvP is okay, but I think it's going to be more fun not having to do that.
I won't be your cup of tea. I know, definitely not.
I mean, but the way I was impressed that Black Ops was better than I thought it was going to be. It was, but really, when those kind of games, I only enjoy it if I'm playing with friends. Otherwise, there's no way I'm going in there myself. Some people do that and they don't care because they're good at it, or that's their thing. But unless I'm playing with friends, it's like, nah.
Well, yeah, I get that. One small thing before I forget. Apologies to anyone who is like followed or Twitch or whatever, or Twitch subscribed to us or anything like that. Apologies that we don't see it on this Riverside feed we've got. What I'm wanting to do when we have like Matt back on, all three of us, is whoever's not hosting, that'll leave two of us. One will keep an eye on the YouTube and one will keep an eye specifically on the Twitch, so the streams, so that we can see if someone does that, we can thank them. They're not, Riverside is great. We do like it and we get a really good deal in it, but its live features are lacking compared to StreamYard's, and we keep pushing this back as feedback to them, but we're just small voices. We're small cogs in the machine, so whether they listen to us or not, we don't know. So we will keep an eye on it. So apologies if we haven't thanked you, but it goes without saying we do definitely appreciate that.
Got it. One other thing I want to bring up too that I thought was really ridiculous. I heard that Red Dead Redemption, the first game, was coming out on PC only 14 years after it came out. So
better late than never. And on Dead Nightmares as well, Gray.
Okay.
So another zombie game.
So I'm sitting there going like, oh, this is kind of cool. So 14 years. Now I'm assuming like other ones that they would do a remaster and, change a little this or that and make it look good or bring it up to standards and stuff like that. And I ended up finding out that except for the resolution, they didn't do anything to it. They just did a straight port, period. So I went to go look at the footage and it's real dated. I mean, 14 years ago was just not like it is today at all. And I'm watching the footage and I'm going like, wait a minute. Well, is this from the old PS5 or PS4 game or PS3, whatever it was then? And it's not. It's the new PC. And I'm looking and I'm going like, God, you got to be kidding me. And then I find out the price. They're charging $50 for nothing but a straight port of old graphics. The only thing is that the resolution is higher. That's it.
No.
Yeah. I was shocked when I looked at it. I was like, whoa.
You're winding me up.
It was terrible. I couldn't believe it. I mean, yes, I understand that, a lot of people like the game and I understand that, having some better looking, not better graphics, but better looking would be nice. But the point is that if you're going to do that, you want to make it, first of all, you want to make it better. But if you're not going to make it better, other than resolution, etc., then don't charge $50 because that's insane. I mean, you'd have to charge. That's Red Dead 2. This is Red Dead.
Oh,
1.
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, Red Dead 1 is what we're talking about.
I did actually type in Red Dead 1. I don't know why it's coming
up. So basically, I couldn't understand why you would ever charge $50. I guess if you're really hard up to play the game, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not paying $50. That's ridiculous. If they came and told me that they were doing a whole remaster like they did with the Horizon Zero Dawn, I would consider it. And even at that point, that's still too much money. So if you owned Horizon Zero Dawn and you get the new remaster, which is way beyond a remaster because they added new stuff to it.
That's what it looks like on screen, guys.
Yeah. And they only charge you $10. Then that's amazing. And then this is it like you own the game, you played the game on PS3 or whatever, perhaps, or maybe you didn't and you want to play it on PC, but then you end up finding out that it's just old graphics that look a little better because it has higher resolution, but otherwise nothing's changed.
What about the frame rate, the FPS?
I don't know, but I was reading that it's not going to be any different. Well, it would be better on PC. It will have frame rate. It will have
not unless it's unlocked. You'd have to know what you're doing and go into the files and unlock it. But is it natively unlockable?
I think the PC you're going to be able to adjust that. But that's like I said, that's all you can do. You can't. They didn't go in and enhance the graphics by making things look better. They just made it so that you can get higher resolution and a decent frame rate. But otherwise, it's the same game.
Sure. So it's literally a port, no remaster in sight.
Nope, nothing.
That's
and then $50 to buy it.
That's a piss take for such an old game. Like a remaster, you go fine. Look what they've done for Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's what I said.
Now that is 6 years, but the full difference between them, Gray, is 6 years old. Okay, not as old, and people are thinking why you've already brought out like patches and stuff to bring it up to like the PS5 era, but they completely. I've actually saw side by side videos, and it does look a lot nicer. It's only £10 to upgrade, and if you've already got it in your PlayStation library, because they gave it to everyone for free during the stay-at-home campaign during COVID, they gave you free games. Fair play to Sony, and that was one of them. Yeah. And we thought, no way they're going to include that. No way, yes way they include it. And even if you don't have that, I think it's something reasonable, like $40 or $50 to get an overhaul game. And the PC version, okay, you won't see quite the same difference in the PC version because the PC version is always going to be strong. But even that does look good as well. So that's poor, man. Really
I think it's ridiculous. Rockstar does weird stuff like this. So I don't understand at all. And they don't care. They don't worry because they just do GTA and make a gazillion dollars. So why should they care? You know.
Don't get me started on that. A small tangent. My old office manager. We don't have an office manager anymore at work, but my old office manager unfortunately let her go because we're moved to a smaller office, so it wasn't required. So we were kind of sad because she was a really nice person. But I said to her, "Listen, where are you? If you get something lined up?" And she went, "Well, no, not yet, but I'm interviewing at a few places, and one of them's Rockstar." And I was like, "Oh," because there is Rockstar North are located in Edinburgh where I live, so they are the UK or the main European office, actually, to be honest with you. She's like, "I'm going to go there to get an interview," and I was like, "Oh, cool. You can tell me about GTA 6 when you get in there." Like, give me some leaks, right? She went, then she went kind of sarcastically, kind of very jokey. They're making me, even for an interview, sign an NDA, and she said, no chance, to check my bags when I go in and everything, and they check my bags when I leave, and I sign NDAs, and she said they've got cameras everywhere. They've even got cameras on the roof outside,
really?
on top of the building, looking all the way around. Yeah, I see them when I pass by. Cameras all around the building, and I'm like, we're not getting anything out of that way. The only way we're getting any leaks is if someone hacks into their accounts, their systems, like they did last time, and they released all that GTA 6 stuff. So, Rockstar are weird, mate. But literally, they only make a handful of games. But when they make those handful of games, they're great.
Yeah, but so was the original Red Dead. I didn't play the original Red Dead, but I was looking forward to it. And once I found this out, I'm like, first I was kind of taken aback that it wasn't a real remaster, and they did, and they made everything look great. It's okay, that's bad enough. But I was thinking like, all right, well, I never did get to play it. It was supposed to be a very good game. How much could they charge? And maybe I'll just bite the bullet and play it. And then I look and I see $50 and I go like, no, bye-bye. I don't care how good the game is. There's just no way.
I'm going to check, actually. I wonder, was that on Steam that you saw that price?
I think it was on Steam, yeah. Actually, in some places, they're charging $65, I hear. Some places. Not $65, $55. And they're getting a little extra, whatever from it.
A bit too much. Let's see. So Red Dead So it is £40 in the UK, but that's what normally happens. It's 50 in the States, it's 40 here. And it includes Undead Nightmare. It's got very positive reviews out of
but that's
1,900 reviews.
Yeah, but that's before PC took it, I think.
No. This is the PC
after?
version I'm looking at. Yeah,
So
but I mean, I think people are just excited, Gray, that they've got this game finally on PC. And let's say Undead Nightmare is the free add-on that comes with it. It's the zombie version. It's really, really great fun as well. It is disappointing, but it's just lazy. And who done it? Like, I'm trying to find, right, Double 11. Oh, ho, 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 ho. It's Double 11.
What?
Oh, it's Double 11, commonly known as 22. Double 11 is the name of the developer. Right. Do you know who they are? They done the PC port of Rust.
Oh.
Now, that is... It's not as great as you might think. It's that kind of game shouldn't be on console, but it is in console. Sorry, apologies. They ported it the other way. So it's a PC game, Rust. They ported it to console, and it's not amazing. It's got better with time. So I'm hoping this way that because they ported it the other way, it's going to be better. And they've just literally, Rockstar have just passed it over to Double 11 and went, do your thing. What you would do is you would add that to your Steam, like your wish list, and get it when it goes on sale.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't pay 40 or 50 for that. Nah,
but Rockstar's pretty famous for not going on sales very often. So I'm not expecting it to go on any kind of meaningful sale. The sale for me would have to be half price or less. Otherwise, I won't bother playing the game unless somebody gives me a key or something. Otherwise, I'm not going to mess with it. I just think it's ridiculous. In any case, I guess we'll go ahead and move on. You had some hardware tech news to get into that we can talk about?
Oh, yes. Trev's hard corner, I'm going to call this one going forward.
Hard corner. Why don't you just call it Trev's hard one? That would make more...
It's a jingle. That's a jingle. Trev's hard one. Ding, ding, ding.
We'll just get a little graphic, up and everything.
Trev's hard one. Less than a little graphic. Come on. Right. One. Okay. Big graphic. Thank you. Right. So I get a bit geeky about this. Now, I'm not super geeky about it because I don't pretend to be an expert. It's just an interest, and I like this shit. So, PS5 Pro coming out soon. In fact, Sony charged me last night for my PlayStation. So it will arrive in time, maybe even a cheeky day or two early. You never know. I'm hearing that it's turning up in stores already at the back of shops and whatnot. So we are seeing leaks online and whatnot already. I mean, let's say leaks. We know what it looks like, but people are playing it already. And mine, when I get mine, I'll obviously we'll have a look at it. But I wanted to talk about Pisser. PSSR.
Ah, yes. I remember we were talking about that.
PlayStation Super... What's it called again?
Realistic?
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that upscaling AI tech that they've got.
Whoever thought of naming it that, man?
It's genius.
Either it was genius or they did it and then they went, oh crap, but they just left it because, hey, it's cool.
I mean, it just has to be done. It's what PlayStation Super Sampling Resolution or something like that. So I love the stuff that Digital Foundry do. I don't know if you watch any of their stuff, Gray.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So I watch most of their stuff. If they get super, super nerdy, it's too much for me. But if they do cover their normal stuff, I watch it. And I watch their clips. They've got another channel called DF Clips, and that's from their live stream every week. They'll just do little bite-sized clips for me to watch. So one of them was comparing DSSR to AMD FSR 3.1 and DLSS 3.7. And essentially what it comes down to is Pisser is superior to AMD's FSR 3.1. It's better than that because it's using hardware, to be fair. Whereas AMD, it's a software-based setup, isn't it? That's why it can be used in any card. But Pisser still lags behind DLSS. Now, I thought it would be because NVIDIA are the kings of this. They've been the richest company in the world at the time of recording this. They are experts at it now. They've been doing it for a number of years. They use good hardware to drive an AI to drive their DLSS, and that's why I would always use that first and foremost on my card. But if FSR 3.1 or FSR, it's 3.2 a thing. If it's not a thing, it's soon to be a thing.
They seriously change these so fast. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it is a thing, but I think this is what they were judging it against at the time. Yeah. FSR 3.1, 3.2 is good for being a free version that's software based. It is, and no complaints there. So I'm not surprised Pisser is better than it. That's going to be the main. It's basically going to be the main one of the main selling features of the PS5 Pro when it comes out, because yes, it does have a bigger GPU for running things more powerfully, but what you tend to what you tend to require, Gray, a lot of the time is, see if you want higher FPS, like if you want to go from 30 to 60, you actually need more CPU than GPU. GPU is about the graphics, right? If you're actually wanting to get the clocks running higher, the FPS running higher, you need more clocks, you need more CPU power, and they've not really changed the CPU in that. They can't, so that games are compatible between the PS5 normal, PS5 Pro. They do have a 10% leeway, but they can boost it, where you lose 1% of your GPU, which I would take that trade. Because I think the CPU is only like 3.6 or 7 gig in a PS5, which is not a lot, but bear in mind, consoles are planned years in advance and they're out for like 7-8 years at a time, so it is what it is. We can't really complain about that. But using the super sampling techniques, the AI powered PSSR helps alleviate that by just boosting the resolution up itself manually, so that more of the power can actually go towards running a stable FPS. So some games will go from 30 to 60. Not as many games will go from 60 to 120. If you get the odd game that will be 120, it'll be a performance mode where you're maybe running at a dynamic resolution. It's a lower resolution that can scale up and down. That's what I mean by that, Gray, when I say that. So just scaling up and down depending on what resources available at the time and how demanding the scene is. You might have like a 1080p or a 1440p image, but 120 FPS if it's a game that's optimized well. Or some games might just run a rock solid 4K 60. So there's options out there. The odd game won't even use PSSR and it will just use brute force to run it at 4K 60. It's up to the devs to use it. There'll be boost mode as well, which the PS5 had for PS4 games, which the Xbox has for its games as well. Whereas even if a dev does nothing with a game, it will boost it up a bit higher, so that, say it's a 60 FPS game that runs at it fluctuates about 54, 55, that boost will just kick in and make it a rock solid 60. So I'm looking forward to this. Like, say, I don't have my Switch anymore, so I'm waiting for the new Switch to come out. And because I got rid of my PlayStation for the Pro to arrive, I'm looking forward to that arrive as well. Get up and running, get playing that. So it is a middle of the card there, which is not bad for a console, because they will be using more of this AI stuff in future consoles to get more out of them. You have to. A console would rely on that more than even a PC would.
Sure.
So yes, I'll be looking forward to testing it out in many games. The other bit of tech news from the hard one, the hard corner, what are they calling it? Fault below. I will obviously want your opinion on this, Greg, because you were rocking this until recently.
I was just thinking about if we ever named your segment.
What you think about my hard corner, right?
No. Well, kind of. Instead of calling it the hard one, we could call it the hoe. Never mind.
Oh.
Either way, we'd get in trouble. So hey.
Oh, we're getting kicked off. That's sad. So the other bit of tech news I've got is AMD's new. I wanted to talk about their new processor, which, bear in mind, I've had this bit of news for like a week or so. So it's not as fresh as it normally should be.
Mm.
Their new 9800 X3D, which I don't think's out yet. I think it's just leaks. Their 9800's out, but I don't think their X3D version's out. So it was leaked showing it running at 5.6 gig on all cores, all 8 cores. I don't think that's super impressive. Must admit, won't lie. Off the bat, without you doing anything, all 8 cores run at 5.2, right? Now, I'm sorry, I'm running my PC, which is an Intel i9 9900K older chip. It's running all 8 cores after me overclocking it at 5.2 gig, so I don't find that impressive. I know this 3D cache is what's the game changer here, really. So with some fine tuning and tweaking, overclocking, folk will be able to get the chip to run, like I say, 5.6 on all cores. I don't find that super impressive. I don't, for me, where this is going to excel, I think this chip that they're saying it's up to 30% faster boost when it comes to non-gaming performance. But I'm wanting this gaming chip that AMD people have been talking about for a while. I want it in the new variant as well, because when I go to build another PC next year, I would consider AMD. I can't believe I'm saying this, Gray. Can't believe I'm saying this. Coco, naughty Coco, bad Coco.
Keep talking.
Is it? I wonder it's because it's Halloween time and she sees someone outside dressed as Coco the Clown. She went, "That's me. That is me. That's why she's barking." Gray missed all that great chat. I was making jokes about clowns and stuff.
Okay, we're back. Or I'm back. You're always here.
I was making jokes about the Coco the Clown. Halloween and all that. She saw herself. She saw a clown outside. Right, so Gray was an AMD guy to one point until he had problems with AMD. So naturally went, nah, to hell with that. I'm going to try Intel again. And then he didn't have problems with Intel, but Intel had problems with Intel. So,
and I didn't know about it until it was too late. I mean, it's okay. I'm not having any problems, but it just was ironic. I decided to go back to Intel because I flip flop AMD Intel a bunch. So I go back to Intel, and then all of a sudden they go like, "Wow, the chips are rusting off the board." And I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! Don't tell me these things."
I know. It's not ideal, but you've got warranty for a while to cover that. So, I would consider them again. I'm just hoping Intel sort their shit out, because this new chip that we discussed last week that Intel got out is it's not great. It's not amazing, and I'm hoping they can tweak. I hope they get their shit back together, Grace, so that when it comes to me building a new PC again, I actually go, actually, I could do that. I'm up for that. And what I'd maybe do, I was maybe looking to build my PC again this summertime, or rebuild it. But what I might do is actually wait until for like up to a year, because then their generation after that will be out. And basically, once they've fixed their processor, and the AMD's new chip comes out, and all the the YouTubers and whatnot test it and do their thing, we'll be able to see. I'd imagine there won't be much. There's never really that much between the top Intel and the top AMD chip anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll basically want to know what's the best gaming chip, because I don't do a lot of shit outside gaming. Yes, Gray does a bit of editing, so it's useful for him. And the exporting that we do is done by Riverside, so we don't even have to worry about that. We don't really need much grunt us to outside gaming. So I'm wanting whatever gives me the best gaming. I just don't believe that with clocks, I was hoping to get like clocks at 6 gig. I miss Intel's chips for that. Yes, they were hotter than the surface of the sun, but I mean, I didn't care about that. I could just keep that cool with a good AIO and crank up the power and keep my living room nice and warm while the heat comes from my PC. I'm only half joking about that, by the way.
Okay.
So now you get some heat from the PC sometimes, but it means it's doing its job. It's expelling all the heat. I will see what chip I go for next year, but I think if you're into non-gaming stuff, editing and whatnot, the new AMD chip when it comes out might be for you. I'm not sure yet, mate. I don't know. It depends what this 3D cache is all about. If it works for me. So you're happy with your current setup for the moment anyway, aren't you? So
yeah, I mean, it's been fine. I haven't seen any rust coming out of the chip yet. So,
what do you want to tell them about your little tweak to your setup?
oh, you mean the new tweak I've done? You talking about that? Oh yeah, I picked up. I've been wanting to splurge and get monitor arms for my Secret Labs Magnus desk. It's a metal desk, which
We're
I
not
love.
sponsored by Magnus, but if Magnus want to, our Secret Labs want to sponsor us, we'd be up for that.
Yeah, we're all good for that. So I really love this desk, but the nice thing about it is everything that they make that goes on this desk is made to fit the desk and made to be out of the way and made to work, right. So I ended up buying 2 monitor arms, but then I had to try to find a monitor. I wanted matching monitors best I could. But my Samsung 240 hertz 32 inch is brand new. It's going to be cost me like $600, $500, whatever. And I didn't want to spend that much money if I didn't have to. So I looked around and ended up on eBay and found an electronics store that was selling open box items. So I went, okay. So I was able to get it for $225, which is a deal. And except for a little scratch on the surface of the screen, which I'm after them about, it's perfect. It looks almost exactly like, well, it does look exactly like my monitor. There really isn't much difference between the G6, the Odyssey G6, and the Odyssey G7, which is my main monitor. So I have my G7 and I have a G6 and I have a 1080p TV. So now I have 3 of them sitting around here. Well, there we go. Is this the guy talking about the processor?
It was announced today. That's what Hanks just said in the chat. Actually, the article I was reading was a bit older. This is he's talking about he's probably 8 cores, 16 threads, Zen 5.2 max. See, that's not. I'm sorry. Like that's this was about the speed that it ran last year with their last generation, if not slower, and it was the best gaming chip in the market. I believe it was the best chip in the market the previous gen, but how can it be the best when the clocks are so low? I know there's more to gaming than just the clocks, but that is one of the key things. I could literally, I want one of the old Intel chips to run all cores at 6 gig.
Yeah, but AMD has never gone for the high gigahertz on there. They go with their other with the technology that they work with, which apparently isn't doing them wrong because there's been great chips.
Why can't they do both?
And the prices but I don't know. I don't know whether it's a conscious thing that they do or they want to just be different. I don't know, but they've always done it that way. It's always been like that.
I'll tell you that much, great. That cache, right? I don't know how much you do or don't know about cache. I know you've got a kind of certain understanding of it. That is a shit ton of cache. Bear in mind, you might look at it and go, oh, it's only 104 megabytes, but it's designed to hold tiny, tiny instructions in short-term memory to load into the processor immediately. That's a shit ton of cache, actually, for what it actually is doing. And I was just, the price, I was looking at this before, actually. It's not on it at the moment. 479.
That's pretty good.
That's a phenomenal price. That is a phenomenal price for that. It comes out November the 7th. And I've obviously got a bunch of other things. I know what it says here as well.
And they've always been going for the lower price anyway, so that's another plus. Plus, you don't think they're going to be stomping all over Intel with the latest stuff that they've been having. Of course they are. So AMD is going to take as much advantage as they can right now while they can step all over Intel. So we'll see.
Some of the games performance, but when AMD or Intel come out with this kind of stuff, you take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah. I don't say believe it's fake news, but take it with at least half of the tub of salt until you can watch tests.
Well, the real reason they put the games up like this and show you these graphs and stuff and how is purely because they know that there's some people out there that some of these games exactly these are the only games that they play. And as soon as they look at it, they go like, "Oh my god, I'm a huge fan of Warhammer. I can get 142%." Yeah.
Look what they're comparing it to.
Yeah, the Intel. Yeah.
The Intel chip.
Look at Intel's blown out 100%. But if you get
blown out the water, but then Intel's latest chip's not running at the highest either. So it's not running high clocks either. So
look, it's still going up. So if you want to play Cyberpunk 2077 on Intel, it'll only be the 100%. But if you want to get an AMD new chip, you could play it 159%. Woo!
You could. It's all about the speeds. It's all about the speeds, people. That's all we're interested in.
And you can run 8-bit games really good. Only kidding.
8-bit games. That's harsh. I'm just wondering if they show any other screenshots. Nah, then just talking about it. Yeah, so out next week, very soon. I don't know if there's a new motherboard, or a CPU socket design that would require a new board. AMD are pretty good for not changing it too often.
Yeah, they don't. So I would bet you don't have to.
Yeah, so there we go. There's that part. Well, I actually remember really quickly at the moment as well, Great. What have we got here? Eggs. What? JK? I'm confused. Anyway, Jansen put in our computer chat as well that we've got more leaks from NVIDIA. That's not on my bucket list, but more leaks from NVIDIA on the 5090 that's coming out on January, most likely January 20th, maybe.
That's the story I got coming up.
Oh, sorry, mate. It's on your list.
Yeah.
I thought I'd done the hardware. That's terrible. You put me out of a job.
I got to do something.
You got to do something. You got to sit there and look.
Part of the reason why I was even going to talk about the 5090 was when we had talked about it. I don't know if it was last podcast or the one before. I had said that, wait till this comes out. It's going to be $2,500. I'm close. I looked at it and they said that the price will be around $2,000. Now, a lot of times that when they say that the price is going to be around $2,000, they're not talking about how the other companies out there add their goodies onto it. Then they charge more. So I could be right that by the time these cars actually hit, it will be over 2,000 and it might be getting to my predicted 2,500.
That'll be the founder card grade, the one that comes from NVIDIA. Partner cards will be more expensive because they need to pay that $2,000 or near $2,000 to NVIDIA just to get the chip in,
right?
To put it on a board of their own. Then obviously their R&D and their better cooling. They need to, and I don't blame the partners for that. They've got to make a profit from it. I blame NVIDIA for being goddamn greedy, and no one's challenging them in the high-end graphics market. So
sure. But I think but like I said, I predicted 2,500 and I'm going to stand by it because I think it might even go more expensive than that. But we'll see. Anyway, they claim that the 5090 is supposed to have a 25% increase over the 4090. Remember, this is a leak and we've heard this before. So whether it really will be a 25%, I don't know. But they said that apparently everything is saying that it's going to be 32 gigs of VRAM, which is like, I thought 20 was a lot, and then 25, 28, and now it's 32, and I'm like, holy moly! I mean, how much do you need? So I'm just like, wow, that's interesting. I'm not going to go for a card quite that expensive. I'm good where I am. My 4070 Super is fine, but 32 gigs, wow, that's just like, wow.
Well, the thing about 32 gigs VRAM, Gray, is high-end games won't use all of that yet, but high-end games will use into the teens, maybe well into the teens in terms of VRAM. So that is a thing that will become more and more important as time goes on, especially if you game at the high end, especially if you game at 4K and whatnot. It will be something that you require, and it future-proofs you as well. I am probably, if I don't get the 5090, I'll get the 5080. I would consider the 5090 and just save up for it, but I'm not entirely sure. I need to decide what I'm going to do yet. So, but I'm considering it.
Well, I'm not considering a 5090, but they did say the first two cards that will come out will be the 5090 and the 5080, which is kind of what they do. They have a pattern of bringing out those, and then all of a sudden they start raising the price, as they go along. So we'll see it. What happens. They're going to bring in the 5070. Probably then they're going to start on the TIs, and then after that they'll be starting on the Supers, and
then the Super TIs.
Yeah, it'll all just
the TI Supers, and
then before you know it, the 6000s will be out, and then it'll be another 25% increase.
What they tend to do, Gray, is, and I think it's not the ideal way of doing it. There tends to be a generation every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
and they'll bring out their 5,000 or 6,000, and then in between then they'll bring out TIs or supers. If they want to extend it, they'll maybe make it every 3 years a generation, and then the next year they'll bring out TIs, or the year after they'll bring out supers. They'll mix it about, but the main generation is every couple of years normally, with stuff in between. And I got a good deal at getting the 4080 Super. The 4080 Super is basically like is the TI, is what it should have been, like a 4080 Super TI. I like my card, but if you're going to upgrade the computer, I may as well upgrade it properly and get a big shiny 5090 and never have to turn my heating on again, because it will keep the whole bloody house warm, because it'll be burning so much juice.
650 watts is what they're saying now. We had heard 1,000 at one point, but now they're going 650 supposedly. The thing that I look at when I see this, though, is for all that VRAM and for everything else they got that they're coming out with AI, the way it's advancing, you ain't gonna need power like that anymore. I mean, and the weird thing about it is NVIDIA is one of the leaders in AI with chips and things, but if you think about it, with some of the software that's coming out, even just some of the software, like the scaleless loss, whatever, I forget the name.
Lossless scaling, yep.
Yeah, and that's like free. All right, and then you're gonna there's stuff that's coming out that we talked about on previous podcasts, where you can just run your game through an AI system that'll make everything look realistic, and you don't have to, and it's not going to tax your video card or anything. So I really don't see, and I'm sure NVIDIA is thinking about this, which is why they're just so heavy into AI, and they keep on trading as most valuable company between them and Apple all the time. Last thing I read, it was NVIDIA was on top again, but so it won't even matter anymore. I could probably hold on to my 4070 Super, and then when the AI technology comes out, incorporate it into the system and never bother getting a card any better than mine. I really think that's coming, and I think it'll be coming way sooner than later, because it's just the growth is just too crazily exponential. And 3 months from now, there's going to be advancements. 6 months from now, there's going to be more advancements. A year from now, there's going to be major advancements. It's just
you're probably right, but they're going to keep pushing anyway, NVIDIA, because, like you say, they're the market leader of not only graphics cards but also the AI stuff as well, and how that's pushing it up. And there'll be guys with stupidly high FPS, high hertz monitors that will want to run these games. Like, for example, when I go to build my PC, I've got a 4K monitor at the moment, 144 hertz, but it's an IPS panel. So what I'll probably want is an OLED next, and I'll want a 4K OLED running at 240 hertz, and I want to be able to max out most of that FPS. So I will need a beefy card. Not every game is going to have DLSS built into it. So sometimes you just need a pure sheer grunt and horsepower. And there's something about knowing your hardware is actually working as hard as it possibly can without having to use AI. Like, you feel like you're almost getting more value out of it, Gray. Like, you're getting more value from your money, because the card is not relying on AI. It's actually using sheer horsepower to crank out these images.
I understand where you're coming from, but that's almost like saying, I'll use cars as an example. So before electric came out, you had, your cars, you could soup up four barrel carburetors and electronic ignition, and you could just run all the gas through it and take off and whatever, right? People are into the performance cars. Well, now they're into performance electric cars. So everything's being left in the dust. But the difference is that those were technologies that took years to develop, and more years to finally adopt, and more years to take over, to where it's a point now where gasoline cars are slowly moving away, like gone. Not yet, but that's what's happening. So with AI, though, I know people can see this, but the growth is like 10 times that, maybe more than that, maybe 20 times. So when you're talking about having to devote, 5 years to something, you're talking about AI will do that in a year. And as AI gets better, the advancements are going to happen like monthly, not not quarterly and not biannually. It's going to come out like even faster. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think it's going to come out so fast that at one point they're going to have to slow it down voluntarily because they're coming out with it too quickly and they can't make enough money on it. It's almost like when you go to buy we always talk about planned obsolescence. They're going to have planned obsolescence, I think, in the future with AI stuff. I think all the heavyweights are going to get together eventually and just go like, look, we got to put a top on this AI advancement. We're not making enough money. It's outrunning us. And they're going to have to sit there and go like, okay, so now we're going to just bring out our advances slowly. But so it's going to be crazy. It already is crazy. And the competition out there is hot and heavy. I think it's pretty cool. I like to sit back and see what all is going on. I mean, the software that improves your game to where we talked about it last week, and we showed examples on the podcast. And when you see a game that's old as hell, like GTA 5, and you see the process that they put it through and how good it looks, I'm totally floored. And it didn't even cost a lot of horsepower to do it. They just ran it through. They ran it through, one or two pieces of software, and boom, out comes this amazing stuff. And that's just coming. That's just happening now. So 6 months from now, they'll be able to pump it out even better and faster. And a year from now, God knows where it'll be, man. Everybody will be using this software. I mean, everyone.
Yeah, it's AI is not going away anytime soon, and if anything, it'll just keep ranking up and going faster and more content. So that will never go away. But I just like my sheer horsepower.
I agree. But I think what I'm saying is the horsepower that you get, like I have now, you'll have when you rebuild your computer. That may be the last time you ever have to go for any horsepower anymore. Now it'll be AI power. Like, do you have the latest yada yada yada?
What boosts your CPU?
Sorry?
What boosts your CPU?
I'm not boosting the CPU. You mean overclock?
No, is AI doing that? No,
not right now.
Maybe it is. Maybe. I mean, my motherboard can use AI. Bear in mind, it's a number of years old now. That's the early versions of AI to overclock my chip automatically. But I would like to see AI get to the stage where it can do for CPUs what it does for GPUs, for argument's sake, So I'm sure something like that will happen at some point.
I think it's already happening. I think we don't even know. I don't think we know what's going on in the background. I mean, there was I don't remember who it was, but there was a YouTuber I was watching, and his shtick basically is to tell you what the latest and greatest keeps coming out for AI. I'm not kidding. He does a video like I think it's like every 3 weeks, and something new is coming out all the time. And he's going like, can't wait to get my hands on version, whatever, 2.1. And I heard a 2.2 is coming out in about a month. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm not making this stuff up. And I'm sitting back going like, holy, it's just like, it's crazy, man. It is so fast. I mean, compared that to when you have to plan like Intel, AMD, all of them have to plan whatever so far ahead for chips, and they have to know what they're going to have to do and what they're going to have to plan for hardware wise, what they're going to, how fast is it going to take to build the chips, la, 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 la. Well, guess what? Basically, when you have software that's that powerful that can run on existing systems, because that's what they're doing, you don't need that anymore. You just need a rig powerful enough to run the software. And the software itself is not like it's power hungry, but but yes, you have to have some kind of a decent system to run it. Yes, but you don't need an ultra powerful. You would probably need at least a Series 4000 card or better, and etc. But once you have that, these people are pumping stuff out, and they're good people, and they're technically inclined like you and I are, and they're geeks like you and I are, but they're pumping this stuff out like it's nothing. I mean, it's crazy, crazy good. If you look at AI, if you go on YouTube, what do you see? You see a proliferation, I can say that, of all kinds of AI films, because I don't know what else to call it, that's, that people are making. And if you go back and look at like let's say 6 months ago and look at what was being pumped out then, Okay, it was already astonishing then. It's 6 months later now, and I cannot believe how far it's already come. Back then, the faces used to be all distorted. The faces were the roughest ones to do with the AI, the eyes, and it still is. It still is. But they were, I mean, the face would really look kind of distorted when they kind of moved around or they were blinking their eyes. You could see it, you know, but everything else was looking really good. But the face was a tough one. Well, I just looked at a couple of AI films yesterday, and wow, man, you can still see some things, but the faces are looking like much better now. They can move their head. They even they're talking. You don't hear anything. You don't hear any audio dubbed in on it yet. That's coming. But they're actually talking, even though you can't hear them talk. So it's silent. They're moving their lips. They're moving their heads, and they're doing expressions of their eyes. None of that garbage was being done 6 months ago. None. And now 6 months later, here it is, and it's looking really good. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Absolutely crazy. And I'm looking really close now to see where I see some of the imperfections. Now, some of the techies that work in the field, they'll sit there and go like, "Well, look at the frame, 26 because there's a blah, 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 blah." And they're right. I get it. But to somebody who's just a geek like us and not quite as techy as these guys are, because they're hardcore, I'm sitting there just looking for little things. Like I watched a video of an AI film, and I was looking really hard at some of the imperfections. There was a thing like where again, when you have hands moving and manipulating things in games or anything, this character goes to pick. It was a woman, and they went to go pick up a pen so they could write something, right? So when they went to go grip the pen, you see their fingers come together to grab the pen. But if you look close, she's grabbing air. She's not grabbing the pen. She's really close. Okay, the character's really close, but she pinches like this and doesn't really pick up, and the pen ends up being picked up even though there's no real fingers gripping it. So little things like that, But then again, we have to remember though, these are people who are pumping it out with PCs, with powerful PCs. That's all they have. They're not using supercomputers or anything. So can you imagine if you did have a supercomputer or whatever, what you could do? I mean, look, we have one motion picture house that was going bankrupt, and they made an announcement that they are going to go into AI films because they can't afford anything else. Now, they were thrown into that because of bankruptcy. But the point is that they couldn't even begin to think like that if the technology wasn't there. And all this is throwing, and when I saw what they were doing with games, I'm just floored. I'm just totally floored. I mean, if I could take Tomb Raider, let's say the older Tomb Raiders or something, or even the old God of Wars, right? And able to pump it through this software till it looks like the present day God of War, I'm all for it. That'd be great.
But Big is on the same wavelength as you, mate, in the comments. I can't bring them up, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, your agreements with us, I agree with you, mate. They're pumping out the content. Location of characters aren't consistent between scenes, which is a massive giveaway. Now, you say that, but it just depends on the trained eye. It does depend on the trained eye. If you're not really interested in it and you're not paying that much attention, the quality is good enough to pull the wool over most folks' eyes.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, like folks like us, more interested in it, more of a keen eye. And if you really want to pay attention, you'll probably pick some things up. But it'll get to the stage where even that's gone then. And then it's squeaky bum time. I mean, I know, Gray, you've got. I'm interested in it, but only in the gaming sense to help it be better. I'm not massively interested in AI space as a main overall topic. But it's not going anywhere, like we said. It's going to be a big part of everyone's lives, whether they want it or not. So when it comes into gaming, certainly we'll talk about it because that's kind of our shtick, So
all I really care about at this point is if they can put out AI to do to old games what I've been seeing. Wow, that opens up a whole new thing. I would end up going back to play the old games that I played, or even go back to old games that I never played, and all of a sudden it's a whole new world. I think that's big. And not even talking about making new stuff. AI is going to start doing new stuff too. So, but just being able to do the old games would be so cool. But we'll see. Anyway, it was a tangent, but a good one. So, anyway, I want to go into another game news topic, I guess, after we talked about the 5090, and that's our favorite, Star Wars Outlaws. I say that facetiously because it's had nothing but problems. And apparently Ubisoft is getting ready for a major update. Major. And apparently they want to try to bring the game up to standards to what everybody's been screaming about that it's not doing. And that is that the open world experience is pretty flat, not that great. So basically they're going to put out a big old update, and supposedly they're going to make things more enjoyable for players. I don't know about that. We'll see. They're trying to correct some FPS problems. They're trying to correct some other glitches and things. They're putting in more travel. They're making ways to get to. They're making the missions a little better and addressing all the problems and trying to make more put more NPCs walking around so it looks like it's a little more lively. All the things that we've been talking about. I just keep on thinking, I'm glad they're doing it. That's nice, but it just seems like too little, too late. So technically, I want to play the game, but I'm almost thinking about I want to wait for another 6 months to a year till they get everything corrected everything into the game that they were supposed to do, and then I'll play it. But that alone, when you think about it, is like ridiculous. So. Yeah. And that seems to be a trend lately, right? They come out with a game, the big game, and then they just go, "Oh, we'll just take another year or two to fix it," and no one will mind. And they're wrong.
Yeah, I saw they had a booth at EGX. That's why I was hoping we'd have Matt on today, because he was going to talk about it, because I missed it. I was ill. There's the Comic-Con over here in one hall. There is EGX over in the right-hand side hall, and there's like tables and cafes and food places in the middle. I'm slumped on one of the tables, just looking like I was dying. In fact, I was dying all day, really, really ill. And I wasn't drinking, nothing to do with that. It was just something wrong with my stomach, I don't know. So all I could see was everyone having fun, and I could see in the corner from the front of the EGX, one of their booths was Outlaws, and the boys were joking about going over to play that first. So I'd imagine if I'd went over there, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, your game's shit. Like, what are you doing to like make it better?" I doubt they would know. They're just minions there that have to run the stand, you know. So
they think that there's somebody who's really in control that's going to sit there and answer their questions. No, they're just sitting there going like, "Well, I don't know. It's pretty good."
No, I don't blame them. I know it's nothing.
I don't at all.
Nothing to do with them.
But they're not going to bring anybody to give you the hard answers. You're only going to see that or hear that on shows like ours. Thank you very much. where we sit there and stick it, because hey, look, we give out plenty of compliments when things are great, but when things are not great, especially like this, and the trend has been this way a lot, and then we're going to nail them on that too, because we want some good stuff. We don't want what's going on. Thank goodness things like Dragon Age Veilguard, from everything I'm hearing, is more like what the game should be and is, and that's all cool. But it just gets me crazy. I'm not saying I won't go back to the game if they actually take another year to fix everything. I mean, I'll go back to the game eventually, but I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm not going to say, because until they fixed some of these things that we all think were normal and should have been in the game, why should I waste my time?
I was going to ask you, Gray. I was going to ask you if you would go back and play it again, but it sounds like you may do it at some point.
Someday, but not until they fix enough of it where I'll do the same thing for Starfield. It's like I said, it's happening all over the place. So Starfield has had a lot of upgrades, and still I keep on reading that it's still not where it needs to be. It just isn't. And the other thing is, why don't they do something with the character models? I guess maybe it's too hard. I don't know, but the character models don't look very good in both those games.
There's a very simple reason for that, believe it or not. You would literally have to redesign the character models, and that takes an unbelievable amount of work, mate. I used to know someone that was a character artist and an environmental artist, and it's a lot of work. That's why.
I would like to see, I don't know if we will see this, but I would like to see somebody take that game and run that through the software AI that we were talking about. And do you realize how good that's going to look?
Of course, yeah.
I want somebody to do it. I want somebody to do that and show up everything. Yeah, it was really disappointing. He was mentioning, can't remember the last time I played a Ubisoft game, but Starfield was a real disappointing, big and dull, and that was from Big. And you're right. I mean, and it's like I said, it's a trend. That's why I'm very happy to hear that the Dragon Age Veilguard is apparently looking good. So I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm actually thinking to myself, wow, a AAA game that actually is good, like it used to be. So we'll find out.
Space.
I'm definitely going to try to pick up on it this week. I may not be able to get as many hours in, but I'll know enough, when I play it, how it feels. So then I can report back here. But anyway, we want to move on. Trev, you got a bunch more stuff to cover. If you would like to, go ahead.
Some important news, which I'm glad they worked out. Oh, I don't know if they worked out sooner than the initial strike resolution they had in Hollywood, but it was the guys over at SAG-AFTRA managed to sign a deal with the Actors Union to basically give them fairer rates, terms, conditions for the voice work they do in video games. Now, that is very relevant to what we talk about here, video game-wise, because Ray and I would, in the past, in the entertainment side of things, talk about the SAG-AFTRA stuff, which affected a lot of people. And it did affect the guys that done the voice work as well, who are very important to video games.
Sure.
Won't affect GTA 6 because they got that stuff done and dusted a while ago, thankfully.
Yeah.
But 100% it's going to would have been an issue now if they hadn't got to the end of it. So basically what I'll just read out here, what the guys said. So it's basically SAG-AFTRA acknowledges that some of its performers do actually want to work with AI companies, and says its agreement with Ethiopia, I think that's how you pronounce it, will make sure those that do work with a consensual model which guarantees them session fees and ongoing revenue sharing. They go on to say that the SAG-AFTRA will continue to recognise AI companies like Ethiopia that agree with our union's AI guidelines. SAG-AFTRA's National Executive Director, Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland. Wow, that is a name and a half, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that is the double the hybrid thing, like Duncan Crabtree Ireland. Wow, man, that is anyway. He said that in a statement. Not everyone will want to work with an AI company, and that's understandable. For those who intend to utilize the opportunities AI offers, it's important that agreements require companies to secure informed consent and provide fair compensation. Without informed consent and fair compensation, the new era will become a wild west of AI misuse and exploitation. They did go back and strike. They started their strike in July 26th. It actually has been going on a little while, and they failed to negotiate acceptable terms for quite a while. The strike remains tough. This is the key thing. This is we can't always you got to read into it a bit more. Meaning video game companies and their performance production arms, with the exception of those who have already signed agreements, likely won't be able to hire any ununionized actors to perform motion capture or voiceover for their games. So they've made agreements. So you would think by default that would end everything. No. Agreement can be signed independently out with people striking or not. The people that are striking then have to agree to stop striking. So all I can assume is not everyone's happy with what's on the table, but we have to be careful. Like, this could turn into like hours-long debate and a very deep conversation, which is all right to have in like a special one-off show or something. But we covered quite a lot in our show, so only so much time. But for me, Gray, reading from the top and from the outside, there's only so much we know. It sounds like, and we don't know a lot. We don't know a lot about the what's in the deal. We know that it's giving people the options to work within the industry if they want, with some level of protection. But it sounds like it doesn't have everything that their members want. Hence why the strike still remains ongoing until they get everything that they want. What's your thoughts in general?
My thoughts are that I'm glad that they're getting somewhere, even though it's taken a long time. I think they will finish and come to a conclusion, and it'll all be dandy. But here's what I think is going to happen, or what bothers me. I think that's going to be, for the short term, a contract that's going to work for them. But, and not trying to sound like what they used to call a broken record, but going back to AI for a second, understand that when they sign these agreements, and then they say, okay, if I'm going to be your voice of your character or whatever, you got to pay me XYZ. Okay, so with AI increasing exponentially and AI sounding so good with voices and stuff, believe me, it's a pet thing of mine. I've been watching this, and I think that the games will be coming out in the very near future where there will not be any human actors at all, or if there are, there'll be very few where you really need it, and then the rest are going to all be NPC created things that can just talk.
You have to train it on something.
You do
you not? So, and then different voices, and then variations.
Yeah, but remember, you can animate the character to do. In other words, when they go in and they do voiceover, the character's already animated. I'm not talking about mocap stuff now. I'm just talking about voicing the characters. Okay, so if you're just voicing a character, AI can handle that because the character's already animated. Or if you think about it, if you do mocap, let's say, and you don't use an actor for the voice, you can at least get the mocap and then use someone AI for the voice, thus saving money because you didn't have to hire an actor to do the voice. You only had to hire an actor to do the mocap. And then as you see as things progress over the next couple year or two, you're going to see where they won't need mocap anymore either, and the AI will basically do all of it. It's all coming, man. There's no doubt about it. It's all coming. Now, there's a good and bad about it. We don't want to see anybody lose a job. We don't want to see anybody not work. But if you have to step back a second and try to look at it objectively, this is going to happen whether you like it or not, or whether you want to be part of it or not, and whether you want to play games that are going to be probably pretty stunning eventually or not. We'll see. So it's both scary and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, so deal signed with the voice actors, but people are still striking. So not everyone's got what they want, ultimately. Moving on to the next thing we've got on the docket. This was something that was out a week or two ago.
Wait a minute, we have a docket?
We have a docket. Well, it's my docket. You're not allowed in. You're not allowed in. There was opportunity to do a little mysterious test for a Nintendo Switch Online thing that was coming out. They basically, it was a playtest program, and they were like, people, if you're on the Plus program, which I'm on, like the PlayStation or Game Pass, if you like, you can go and apply to be in this system, and
did you do it?
Have to agree not to talk about it. I tried to apply for it, but I was way too late in the day. I think they reached their number way early in the day,
right?
So I didn't get into it. But we are getting more information on it at the moment. They told people not to put anything online, but I don't think NDAs were signed. I don't know. It looks like they're testing some kind of massive MMO type either game or server setup for an MMO type game.
For Nintendo?
This is Nintendo. Really? Yeah. Sorry if I never mentioned Nintendo. That would probably help. It's something people have already started leaking a little bit. And what I'll actually do, I didn't think I'd be able to get away with this, but because it's already out there, and
I mean it's public, so it's not like
so yeah, this guy here from Nintendo Prime's quite an important one. This is what the select public test is for Wednesday. No, he didn't get in it. This is new info learned just now from the app itself, which launches but can't be played yet. It can be. I think it can be played now. In fact, let's go into. Did that stay on there? It did. Did that switch? Of course it did. Of course it did, Trevor. It switched across, didn't it? Right. Never mind. Yeah. The details looks like some of the mechanics for a massive MMO type game, which Nintendo don't normally do first party wise. And maybe they're just getting the infrastructure in place to be able to support said game or type of game in the future.
Right.
People have already posted stuff online, which I wouldn't necessarily show you because that stuff could potentially get taken down. So we have to be very, very careful. But we don't want to get kicked off by Nintendo. They've got a lot of strong lawyers.
They like to sue people.
They do like to sue people. So it's one. They're almost as good at suing people as they are at making video games.
Well, let me ask you a question. Yeah. You're a bigger Nintendo player than I am.
Bigger, yes, but
but what do you think about the concept of an MMO that's actually Nintendo, which is kind of interesting?
It would be fascinating because they have the type of IP that would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
Think of, I mean, you could argue that Zelda's a little bit like an MMO. Massive. It's a massive multi-online player game, isn't it? So you can't play with other players, so maybe that's where the multiplayer part comes out of it.
Right.
But if you take that out, it is a massive game where you can go wherever you want type thing. So I don't know what they're cooking, Nintendo, but it's interesting. They brought out an alarm clock not that long ago, which was hilarious. Use like radar and stuff to scan you to like see how much you woke up in the middle of the night. It's called Alarmal. It was ridiculous. People are already hacking that Gray to see if they can get Doom to run on it. It's still funny. I can't wait to see that.
They got Doom running on refrigerator displays, so why not?
That'll happen. It'll happen, mate. It'll happen. But anyway, I'm conscious of the time, so moving on from that. It's something I had in the pipeline for a little bit, but it's still more than relevant just now. And I'll just share my screen again. And that was Destiny bringing out a new game called Destiny Rising. It is a mobile game for iOS and Android. People in US and Canada can pre-register for the closed alpha on November the 1st. And I'm kind of gutted because I do like Destiny. I don't like mobile games, but I would have liked to have tried this one out at least. The idea behind this is think of a Marvel movie where it's set in another parallel type universe. So it'd be what happens if Destiny was in another universe, and they get a bit of a blank canvas to do other things with, It's not the guys at Destiny that are making it themselves. They'll kind of help a little bit. I think it's more. Do we actually have a name? NetEase Games under the license of Bungie. Yeah. So it looks like they've put a lot into this, and I'd be intrigued because the thing is, Gray, we don't like mobile games, but a lot of people do. It's so lucrative, especially in China, and you can pair a PlayStation or an Xbox gamepad up to it via not only Bluetooth but direct connection if you put it in one of those stand little holder things, and actually play it like a games console. So this looks like actual full blown Destiny. Now, okay, this is a CGI. Actually, wait a minute. No. Before I finish that sentence, early pre-alpha mobile in-game footage. Okay, I'm even more impressed then if that's how it's looking and performing at early alpha. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it does look good considering what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get to try it at some point when it comes here. Would I pay money for it? Yeah, I would actually. I don't do that often for mobile games because I don't normally play them. But that will probably be a little while off before it's ready. Like any game, I would rather they got it done properly before we saw any sign of it. But I say you can already register if you're in America or North America in general. I don't think they've got a ETA. It does say NetEase invested $100 million to become a minority shareholder in Bungie 4 years before the studio was acquired by Sony.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting. Right, okay. So, and Sony are wanting to boost their mobile game presence.
So
Everybody is.
expect to see more on that. Yeah, I mean, it's so lucrative. That's one of the major reasons Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, because of Candy Crush, and they've got a big mobile division that makes so much money for them, Gray. So yeah, the last thing here, we'll maybe have to spend a few moments on, and it is a bit older. Like I say, last week we had a lot to talk about and we just couldn't cover everything. Was from a week or so ago, the Xbox partner preview video that was on, Gray.
Right.
Quite a few things were announced here game-wise, so I'll go over some of them. I won't bother playing any trailers or anything. Alan Wake 2 DLC is coming out, the Lake House DLC. I've never really been into Alan Wake, but it looks pretty good, graphically wise, and good story. So it's something I maybe would investigate at some point. That was released immediately, pretty much on October 22nd. For I'm pretty sure that's going to be Xbox and PC. We got another game called Chronos: The New Dawn. It's the next project from the Silent Hill 2 remake team, Bloober Team, who I'm looking forward to playing Silent Hill 2 at some point. Blind Fire, which is a first-person shooter game. Looks okay. It's early access just now on Xbox and PC. If it's early access, and especially if it's part of the Game Pass program, I'd always be willing to try something like that. Now, a famous one, which is not for me, is Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Right, the Like a Dragon games are pretty famous. Not my cup of tea, but to each their own. They're releasing their Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii DLC on
Somehow
Xbox.
that name just sounds kind of goofy. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be, I think. They're games that don't take themselves seriously, mate. So, yeah, that's probably the meaning there.
You
That'll come on
notice
Xbox
for people that are
PC on February the 21st.
For people that are listening, the picture that they show of the pirate definitely looks like a lot like the Johnny Depp character from the movie, which is kind of interesting.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, trying to capitalize a little bit.
We also get another game, Mouse PI for Hire. Now, that looks almost identical to Cupcake. Is it Cupcake, the game? Which is not my cup of tea, but I know it's a very famous, popular game out there at the moment. A lot of people are excited to play that. That'll be 2025 for Xbox Series and PC. And I am going to share the screen for this one. Even though I've not completed any of them, but I'm still excited about them regardless. And that would be Subnautica 2 coming out next year as well. And what I'll do is I'll just play the trailer for that. Can you hear the audio?
You gotta mute.
I think so. Have I muted it? Oh,
there you go.
A bit long. More than a fishy coming to get you.
I was gonna say, I'm waiting for them to get eaten.
I'm getting their best vibes right here. Ooh. Early access. Game Pass next year. Early next year. Oh, yeah, baby.
It's been a few years. Whoa, okay. That was loud. It has been a few years since they put out a new Subnautica. This looks pretty good. They got all the...
Oh, they had DLC, Gray.
that Frozen one. What was it called? Frozen something. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah.
I didn't play that one, but I know what you're talking about.
Did you play any Subnautica?
Oh yeah, I played the first one, but I didn't finish the game. I played probably about, I'm gonna say maybe about 40% of it, I guess. I mean, I enjoyed it, but after a while, it started kind of getting a bit repetitive. So I kind of wandered off that one when a different game came around. But I liked it. It was different. The thing I liked a lot about it was quite different, and still is. I mean, and if this plays anything like what we're seeing, of course, we're seeing a cinematic. So,
of course.
But if it comes out as well as we think, it could be pretty cool.
Yeah. It was a very famous. It became a famous game because it was a kind of small game at the time. It just kind of blew up. So, I won't list every game that's in the list here. There's quite a lot. I was trying to point out some of the more interesting ones. Scrolling down the list here, I see one or two other interesting ones. So, Phasmophobia, which is a popular horror game on PC, it's coming to the Xbox Series as well, and it's already out October 29th. So I'm trying to see if it's on the Xbox Game Pass. The partner, I don't see it on the Game Pass, so I'm thinking, you're paying for that, fella, which is fine. You should get a big game in the Xbox Pass. One that looked interesting was Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I'm definitely getting vibes a little bit from that slipped my mind.
Oh, Black Myth Wukong.
The monkey game.
Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're obviously capitalizing on some of the fame of this, but I heard this is going to be more Souls-like, though, from what I understand, which means that's great for some people, but not for me.
People use that term a lot. It's all right, Gray. You're going to make a guide on it to make your life a lot easier. You'll be fine.
The what now?
You go and make a guide like you did with
no, even a guide doesn't
Elden Ring.
No, it's called cheat codes because otherwise I'm not going to be able to play.
We all have our type of game. It's fine, I'm not going to knock that. So that is some of the highlights they've got coming out sooner. I never discussed it again quite on purpose. Some of these things are already out, and some of them will be out over the next several months or so. There's other ones there. Just look at the partner preview. You'll see some of the trailers as well. The last thing we've got on our list is from you, Gray, which I'm actually interested to hear about.
Yeah, we know that the Fallout London, which technically, well, not technically, it is a mod, except it plays more like a full game. So the team that put it together, Team Folon, I think that's how they pronounce it. The game /mod came out a couple months ago, but they did have some issues with it, and just like you would some games. And remember, these people did this all for free. No one's getting paid anything. So they had some issues with some graphical errors or whatever, but they've been patching it up, and they said that this latest patch, which is 1.02, is out now, and they said that there's hundreds of fixes in it. They said they've been listening to the fans out there that are enjoying the game, and they said that they significantly have improved the mod. They've got their people together, and they wanted to make sure that they improved the visual experience from everything from, and some of this maybe is a little geeky talk, but optimization, mesh fixes, collision measures, inconsistent game crashes, among many other things that they're doing. So from what I hear, this particular fix is going to really straighten things out, and probably going forward, it won't need too many more fixes or whatever from that point on, which is good to know, because I was kind of wondering how it was faring. And apparently now with this patch, it's probably something that, might be worth now finally getting into. So you have, less problems. So it's doing well, considering it's a labor of love kind of thing. Maybe some of these guys will get a job with some of the other companies or whatever because of this. I hope they do. They put a lot of effort into it. And they started their own indie studio. Remember, mate? Yeah, but they're not really working for any other studio right now, except that they're called Team Fallon.
Yeah, but they then can actually start generating their own money. So instead of doing it as a hobby, they've actually created a studio where they'll actually bring something out and be able to charge for it. That's not too shabby.
No,
that's not too shabby at all.
Hey, look, we've been seeing some good games by small companies, so everybody's going small now. It's almost like you're going from the giant store down to the mom and pop store, because the giant store is now putting out stuff that's always the same.
What is a mom and pop store for those not in the US?
Okay, so the expression is a gigantic outfit like a Walmart or something. Not that I'm knocking that, but huge stores as opposed to small independents. That do cater, specifically to a smaller crowd. So it's almost the same as what's going on with the AAA games, because a lot of the larger companies are all having problems. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. And all these small little independents are popping up. Not that they weren't there, but some of them are. I don't even know if it'd be fair to call them independents. They're almost kind of like the junior version of the AAAs. It's kind of like they're not giant AAAs. They might be a little bit bigger than some indies, perhaps. It's possible, but they're downscaled quite a bit compared to the large companies, and yet their games are better. So there you go. So maybe AAA will take the hint, or if they haven't already, and try to improve on what they're doing. We'll see. I don't care as long as we get some good games. I want to just see some good games.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Always first and foremost.
Yep.
Great. If you finish that side of things, I realise we've got we still got a bit of time, to be fair, technically. I noticed something that would be useful to maybe tell the listeners and the viewers. And when we watched that clip back a few moments ago of Subnautica 2, I'm sure you could go and find it yourself for our audio listeners. But if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, hopefully you can just flick between video and audio and see it. That's the beauty of we upload it in video as well now.
Well, the other thing that I endeavor to do is when I go back to do the video podcast version, so you audio people know, I will go back and look and see where I can drop in video that helps with what we've been talking about. So a lot of times I go in there and I actually put clean pieces so that, for instance, the Subnautica, we were sharing screen, which worked fine. But I may go back perhaps and maybe just go full screen with the actual trailer as we talk about it. So that's the beauty of editing. You can change some things and maybe, spruce up other things. So I'd advise you, if you want to see some of that, go to the YouTube or Spotify and look at the video version when it's ready.
Okay. There are a couple of quick free games you can claim from Prime Gaming. So when you're on Prime Gaming, using your free gaming sub that you get every month,
free.
Use it for any channel. You could use it for any channel. Doesn't matter what one. There are a couple of free games. A Plague Tale Innocence, which is a game and title well recognised. That's free at the moment as well. There are a couple of Halloween games free as well. Scorn, which is a classic one from back in the day. It is free for you to pick up. Killing Floor 2, which I had a lot of fun with as well. That's another free one. Prime are doing pretty good this month with that. And GOG, who we like, because they do DRM free games, which is very useful. Now, this is an old-timey-wimey game. They're giving away a game for free because it's Halloween. And it is Return of the Phantom, as in Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
That is an old point-based, it's a horror point-based and click adventure released in 1993. And do you know who it's developed by? I can't even pronounce the publisher, but the dev is Microprose. They're the guys that done Star Trek Birth of the Federation, the game that I always got into grey about. They're no longer a thing. It's an old point and click adventure, but see, if you want that and you want it for free, they don't charge you nothing for it. And if you're a Prime Gaming person as well. And something I just saw really briefly here as well, which I won't get into too much detail about because I don't really see the point.
Mm-hmm.
The upcoming PS5 Pro that is about to be released, 5 years in development. That was, oh my lord!
Seriously,
it's a fresh article I'm reading. Yeah, it's a 5-year project. People don't realize how far in advance you have to plan these things. because you have to speak to AMD. You have to go out and speak to someone to make it for you, the chip, or the SoC, because it is a system on a chip. And then you have to get a customized special version of a CPU or a system on a chip made for you. Because AMD and Intel don't do that normally. They make their own chips. Someone wants to come to them for a chip, you need to work with them. You need to get tooling done. You need to get marketing ready in advance. Like logistics, support, all that stuff. It's mind blowing. And then if you think of the original PS5 was probably years in development before that as well. So it means basically they're already starting to develop the PS6. That'll be a no-brainer. They'll be well into the research for that. So
I heard that'll be quantum based, so all kinds of crazy things.
I thought it would just be like actual real life.
Yeah, there you go.
A
bunch of actors come to your house and act out the game.
That would be amusing. That should be in a comedy show or something, man. But yeah, so I just wanted to add that in cheekily at the end. Gray, you feel free to share what you've got left in the agenda, or you can keep it for next week for your main
keep it for next week, because we're already up to 2 hours in any case, or we're getting there.
We're not actually. I know,
because 9 minutes minus it's still 152, 3.
I know. Yeah, so all good on my end. Thank you, peoples.
No problem. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back again next Thursday, like we always are. And we'll have a bunch more stuff to talk about then. And I will hopefully get in some game time and on Dragon Age Veilguard and let you know a little bit about that. So looking forward to it. And I guess it's time to say bye-bye. So cheerio, everybody.
Sayonara.
Talk Bye-bye. To you. Bye.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you.